This is a PokePress special report.
Hi folks, Steven here. First off, I want to tell you about a written interview I recently posted on the PokePress blog with a player that used a Primal Kyogre deck at Wisconsin State's last month. We talk about how he chose the deck, what his matches were like, and so forth. It's a pretty good read, and I'll post a link here so you can take a look if you haven't already. The next thing I wanted to do was sort of dissect the April Fool's Day gag I posted on the site back on the 1st. If you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend you take a look through it before listening to the rest of this. Now, I think I came up with this idea of the most ridiculous Blu-ray combo pack sometime last year, probably around when the bogus Blu-rays of the first 3 Pokemon movies started appearing on eBay. My goal was to come up with things that started out plausible, and then got progressively more absurd as the article went on. So, since this is supposed to be a fake news article, we start off with a summary paragraph that contains the basic information about the combo pack, the movie, who's releasing it, the date, and the price. The price should probably be your first tip-off that this is a gag article, because although I think $99.99 is a somewhat fair price for what you get in the made-up package, it's obviously a bit more than your typical multi-format combo pack goes for. The next paragraph describes the first piece, the standard Blu-ray. To give this a bit of credence, I started off by linking it to the remastered version that was shown in early 2014. I also made sure that I mentioned the Pikachu short and a few key features that people would definitely want to know if this was a real story. At the end, I note that there will be retailer-specific special features, a facet of movie releases that I'll admit I'm not a fan of, but I do think it enhances the story a bit. Next up, we have the 3D Blu-ray. This part ends up being particularly silly since, from what I've heard, it costs about $1 million to do 3D post-conversion on 10 minutes of video, so just converting the main feature would cost about $7 million. Typically, this would have been funded for a catalog title like this by doing some sort of theatrical re-release, but in this case it's being figured into the cost of the set. Home 3D never really took off as well as the studios would have liked, so I seriously doubt we'd ever actually see something like this anyway. Rounding out the video portion, nearly every combo pack includes a DVD and or a digital version of the movie, so I figured why not include both of them in this one. I always try to put in some sort of musical angle on my April Fool's Day articles, and this one is no exception. For the special edition of the Pop soundtrack, I wanted to point out that every one of the extra things I list does actually already exist. There is a Spanish version of the first movie Pokemon theme, several remixes of Don't Say You Love Me, a very minorly remixed version of Making My Way, and an alternate version of We're a Miracle. I also threw in a digital version of the score because why not at this point? Next, I knew I needed to represent the card game in some way, and thankfully there are some recently released Mew and Mewtwo cards that I was able to pull in. The online TCG is also still out there, so I made sure to include a code for it. We finish off the set with a Mewtwo Amiibo. Originally it was going to be a plush, but after Mewtwo was announced as DLC for Smash Bros. And the frenzy for Amiibo kicked in, I knew I had to include one to make the set complete. I also realized that some people buying this set wouldn't have gotten the DLC by registering the games, so I decided to throw in yet another code so they can unlock the character. I will say that I feel a bit lucky that I was able to get this out there just before the Nintendo Direct that announced that there will, in fact, be an Amiibo for Mewtwo. Finally, as a way to wrap up the article, I state that advanced copies will be given out to the top finishers at this year's Pokemon US Nationals. So, I hope you enjoyed this little tour of the article I posted. I do hope that someday a real Blu-ray for Pokemon the first movie does come out, preferably a little less excessive than this one. Thanks.
This has been a PokePress special report.